why did I wait 12 books to decide to do this? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Katie, and in today's video I have a recent reads for you. I don't know how I got to 12 books before. The last reading wrap up that I did was my July reading wrap up, and then August went by and I'm like, well, I don't have enough books to talk about. And then September went by and I'm like, I still don't have enough books to talk about. And now here we are in the middle of October and I'm at 12 books. So we're probably going to need a snack. We're probably going to need a drink because we all know that I love to talk. So if you're new to my channel, what I like to do is start chronological. So I'll start with the furthest book back, work my way up to the most recent book that I've read. I give you the star rating, whether I like the book, whether I didn't like the book, but I give no spoilers. And if I feel like a trope is a spoiler, I will have it listed in the description because sometimes I feel like they are, and some people like to go in blind. Some people need the tropes, or some people need the triggers or whatever. So I will have those down below, but let's just get started because I do have 12 books to talk about. Okay, so the first book that I want to talk about is Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier. This is a thriller, and this was one that I had been putting off because so many people talk about this one, saying like it's like their favorite book. And this is why I don't like reading hyped books, okay? If I look down, it's because of my notes, because it's been a while since I read this one. This was the beginning of August. So I did give this one 4 stars. It was fine. It was fine. It didn't blow my socks off though. So in this book, we are following our heroine named Geo, or I think it's like Georgina, but she goes by Geo. And in high school, she's dating this boy who's a couple years older, I do believe. And her best friend is murdered. And no one knows who did it. No one knows any idea. 14 years later, her best friend is found dead. Her body is found. And they suspect that Geo's boyfriend at the time did it because turns out he grew up to be a serial killer. So since she was dating him at the time, they think she somehow is an accomplice. So the book starts with her in the courtroom discussing what happened, and she gets 5 years in prison. So we do get a little bit of her in prison. I think it's like a chapter, and then we get a time jump to when she gets out of prison. And when she gets out of prison, she's going back to her life that she was, well, she's not going back to the life she was living because she was like this very, you know, successful woman. She has to move back in with her father, back in the hometown that she grew up in. And during the time that she was in prison, her ex-boyfriend escaped. He got out of jail. Well, not jail. He was in prison. He got out of prison. And when she gets out of prison, killings start happening again. So we have to find out who is doing the killings this time. Is it him? Did he kill the girlfriend? Like, not the girlfriend. Did he kill the best friend in high school? Was it even him to begin with? We do get 2 timelines in this, past and present, and then how it all kind of comes together in the present. Like I said, it was fine. The plot twist was okay. It wasn't my favorite, but it was fine. Will I read any more from her? Yes. I liked the writing. I thought it was good. I just wasn't blown away by this one. And I'm sad because I was putting this off because everyone's like, it's so good. And it was just fine. It's just fine for me. I'm so sad for this next one. Okay. So this, I don't want to talk about it. Okay. The next book that I read was Make You Hate Me by Candy Steiner, and I love Candy Steiner. If you're new here, I love her. My favorite book of all time is A Love Letter to Whiskey, but this book wasn't it for me. It just wasn't it. Did I end up giving it 3? I did. I gave it 3 stars. 3.5 stars. It was just okay. It was just okay. This is a second chance best friend's brother romance. So in this book, in the beginning, in like the prologue, we see our heroine Jasmine and our hero Tyler. Jasmine is always hanging out with her best friend, and I cannot remember her name. It's slipping my mind. And Tyler is like a year older than them, so they're always like together, hanging out. Well, one night they end up getting together, like together, and then they never speak after that night ever again. And she ends up leaving, going to college, all this stuff. 7 years goes by, and her best friend's getting married, so she has to come back into town because she's going to be the maid of honor. Tyler is I don't know if he's yes, he is the best man, because that makes them have to do a whole bunch of different stuff together. So it's also close proximity because they're forced to work together for the wedding. But it was good. And if I'm not mistaken, they both are dating other people at this time, and I don't know if there's cheating in this. I can't remember if there's cheating. I don't think there was, but I can't remember. But this was just okay. This was just an okay book. It didn't knock my socks off. It wasn't like Love Letter to Whiskey, which I really should stop comparing all books to that, I know. But I've read other Candy Steiner books that were 5 stars, so I think that I can at least compare this one to other ones. So it was just okay. It was 3 stars. That was just okay. The next book that I read was on my Kindle, and I read Midnight Valentine by J.T. Geisinger, and I gave this book 5 stars. I needed something to pick me up after those 2, like 3 and 4 stars. I needed something, and this one definitely did it. We are following our heroine, Megan, and she moves from Arizona to Oregon. I think it's Oregon. Is it Washington or Oregon? And she is going to start a B&B on a seaside coastal town because that was her late husband's dream. They both wanted to open up a B&B, and she's like, you know what? I still want to do it. I still want to do something to, you know, kind of remember him by, because that's something he really wanted to do. And she gets into town, and I mean, the house needs stuff done to it. Needs stuff done to it. But the night that she gets into town, she goes to a little diner, and she sees this guy, and he's like really staring at her, like mean mugging it. Like, she's like, I don't know what the heck I did to this guy. I don't even know him. Well, come to find out, that is our hero named Theo, and he's actually the town mute. He does not speak. There was a horrific accident, and ever since the accident, he just has not spoke, and people think it's because like his vocal cords got damaged in the accident. He just doesn't speak, but he is a great contractor. You see where I'm going with this. So eventually, she has to hire him to help redo the house. But coincidences just start adding up in this book, okay? He's always loved this house. And he has like blueprints and like renovations that he's wanted to do this house for years that coincidentally are very, very similar to what her husband also wanted to do. So I'm going to leave it there because I don't want to spoil anything. But I loved this book. Definite 5 stars. Ugh, I loved it so much. And it was just good to get it like a 5 star after those ones that weren't as good for me. And then, oh my gosh, I've already talked about this book, but it doesn't matter. I read Don't Kiss the Bride by Carrie Ann Cole, and I loved it so much. I gave it 5 stars. This is going to be one of my top reads of the year. I absolutely love this book. So, this is actually the hardcover edition, which I think is on Amazon. So, and it has our heroine on the cover compared to the other cover, paperback, which is like him and her. But there's also another one out now. It's a special edition from Dark and Quirky, and I wish I would have bought it because it's so freaking gorgeous. So if you have it, you don't want it, and just let me know. But anyway, so in this book, we're following Skylar. Skylar is a senior in high school. She was held back when she was younger, so she's really 19, not 18. And she is not in the best home life. Her mom is an extreme hoarder to the point that she has to go, like, she has to leave her house through her bedroom window. She can't get out of her bedroom to go to the bathroom, so she is, like, has to use her cat's litter box. Yes, it's very extreme. So if that's a trigger, just know that's in there. And our hero is named Jude, or Lucky is his nickname, and he is another contractor. And he's working on a house beside her high school, and they end up just starting a friendship because her car won't start one day. So he gives her like information for a mechanic. And then she ends up fainting one day outside of school, and he takes her to the hospital. And come to find out, she's got some medical issues that she needs to deal with. But she has no money. She has no health insurance, nothing. Lucky does. So he comes up with this idea of, hey, why don't we get married? And remember, she is 19, so it's not weird, but it is an age gap, okay? Because he's in his 30s. But like I said, it's a little weird. But it's not weird that's because she's a senior in high school. So he's like, we'll just do it platonically. It'll be on paper. You know, nothing will come of it. You'll be in your own room. I'll be in mine. Nothing. So that's what they do. They end up getting married. And then it's a slow burn. Nothing really happens, I think, until like halfway. Is that considered a slow burn if it's halfway? I don't know. But you definitely get to see their friendship blossom. And they really start out as friends. And then they get into like the whole like romantic relationship. But I loved this book so much. And I have not read anything by her since because I'm just like, I'm just loving this right now. But I'm definitely going to read more from her because I absolutely adored this book. The next book that I read was The Stopover by T.L. Swan, which is book 1 in the Miles High Club. And this one, what did I give it? 4 stars. Yeah, I gave this one 4 stars. So this is a romance between our hero, Jameson. Yeah. I'm not a fan of his name, okay? I'm not a fan of his name because he likes to also be called Jim, and I just can't picture a hot guy named Jim. I can't do it. I'm sorry. That's besides the point. And our heroine's name is Emily. So Emily is on a plane ride at the beginning of this book, and I think she gets bumped up to first class, and she ends up sitting beside Jim. Oh, Jim. And they have this great flight together. You know, they're drinking, they're flirting, things are going great. And then there's like a layover in Boston or something like that. So they spend the night together. It's a great night, you know, things happen, we're having fun. And then the next day, they go their separate ways. And I think it's a year that goes by. And Emily gets her dream job at this firm. Is it media? I think it's a media firm. And guess who's her boss? The billionaire Jameson Miles. I guess Jameson's hotter than Jim, but anyway, you know, so they have to learn kind of how to work together, but also there's still that attraction there. And there are some laugh out loud scenes in this book. There's a camping scene because she's trying to like humble him. She's like, let's go do something you've never done before. So, and camping's one of them, and it just doesn't turn out right. It just doesn't turn out good, okay? It's not a good time for him. But I did really enjoy this book. I definitely want to continue with the series. I mean, I own the series, so I might as well continue, right? But I hear a lot of people love the next book. And each book follows a different Miles brothers because there's 4 of them. So, I did enjoy this one. I'm glad that I finally got to this book. Then I read Savage Lover. I feel so bad. I love this series, but this book just wasn't it. I gave it 3 stars. I'm sorry, Sophie. I'm sorry. This one just felt the least mafia to me in the entire series that I've read so far, which is only 3 books. But the other 2 books were definitely more mafia heavy. This felt like Fast and Furious. Yeah, this is definitely Fast and Furious vibes. So this book is following Nero, which is Ada's brother. And we are following Camille. Camille is a mechanic, and she is trying to take care of her dad and her brother. And somehow she gets put into a compromising position, and the cops, you know, dirty, as some are. And she just gets put into a bad situation with the cops there because of something that her brother was doing. And then Nero and her meet at a party, and I can't remember why they get dating. I don't know. That's how much I did not like this book. But there is, like, it's definitely Fast and Furious vibes with the cars. And there's a heist involved in this story. And I just kind of forget everything else because this was not it. This was not my favorite. Which is sad. But I know there's more, and I know that they kind of get better because people love Bloody Heart and people love Broken Vow. So, I mean, I know they're going to get better, but it's just like this one was not it. And I was so sad. But it just wasn't it for me. Nope. The next book that I read, I can't find it for the life of me. It's here somewhere, but if you could see my room and the piles of books, you'd understand. But the next book was Your Dad Will Do by Katie Robert. This is just like a short 120-page novella about our heroine who just found out that her fiance is cheating on her. So she goes and she's like, you know what? Your dad's always been really attractive to me. So she goes to her ex's dad and they just have a tryst of a time. They have a time. And that's it. That's the plot. And I just could not get into this book. What did I give it? 3 stars? Yeah, I gave it 3 stars because it was just, and look, I wouldn't think I'd ever say this, but it was too much smut for me because that's all it was. And I get it. It's a novella. So probably that was the point. But I guess I'm coming to find out that I need a little plot in my books. I need something because I was just like reading sex scene after sex scene after. I'm like, okay, I need something in between. I need just to breathe a little bit. So it was fine. 3 stars, short, to the point. I mean, I guess it did what it was meant to do, but it just wasn't for me. Okay. I'm laughing because this next book. So if you saw my September TBR, my sister ended up picking it out. And I think I only ended up reading one of the books off that TBR. But this was it. Best of Me by L.K. Farlow. I think that's the author. Yeah, I ended up giving it 3 stars. This book wasn't for me. Okay. So we were following, what was our hero's name? See, I can't even remember. Duke. Okay. Following Duke, who was a cop. And at the beginning of the book, he is engaged to our heroine's twin sister. Let that sink in for a second. Yep. And something happens and she ends up passing away. Our heroine's name is Mallory and she's just not been home for many, many years. And she's coming back for a teaching position, I do believe. And they see each other and he's like, I'm attracted to her, but I don't know why. And I'm thinking maybe it's because she looks just like your ex, like your fiance who died. I don't know, maybe. This book was too much for me. If I read it, it just wasn't for me. I mean, there's more in the series because like I could see like the different characters that some were already together, some were going to get together. So there's other books about the people in town. I was just like, this is so weird because I know why you like her because she looks just like your fiance who died. That's what it is. That's just, I tried, but nope. Nope. Okay, the next book that I read was The Invitation by Vi Keeland. This one I gave, what did I give it? 4 stars. So in this book, we're following Stella. Stella is home one day and she gets her mail and come to find out it's her ex-roommate's wedding invitation to this wedding. And her ex-roommate just kind of, you know, left town, took some of her like favorite belongings, left her with the rent. So her best friend, who is like her gay best friend, he's fabulous. I love him. He was like, you know what? Go to the wedding, pretend to be her, go have some fun. So they both go to this wedding and she ends up meeting Hudson. Well, Hudson is actually the bride's brother who's putting on the wedding and he knows that she's not who she says she is. So he kind of puts her on the spot to do like this toast for the bride. And it's hilarious. And she goes with it and she does great. But from there, they just kind of form like this kind of like partnership. She is also a perfumist. So she makes like custom perfumes. And he runs a business where they will invest in these businesses that are just coming out. So she does like this whole proposal thing and she ends up getting it. So they kind of have to work together also, but I liked it. I thought it was really good. She ends up becoming like really good friends with his sister who was the bride at the wedding. So I loved that. But my first Vi Keeland, was not disappointed. We'll definitely be reading more. The next book that I read was I Had an Arc for Tempt Our Fate by Kat Singleton, which is book 2 in the, is it Sutton Mountain? It's either Sutton or Sutter. I think it's Sutton Mountain series. And I loved it. Gave it 5 stars. She can do no wrong to me so far. I've given like every book that I've read of hers 5 stars. This book, we are following Pippa, and Pippa is the sister of, I can't think of his name from the first book, but we're following Pippa and Camden. So Pippa runs the Wake and Bake bakery in town, and she's always wanted the like art studio beside her restaurant so she could expand. Come to find out that someone has bought it to open a high-end art studio, and that would be Camden. They have a history, because you see a little bit of that history in the first book. I think the first time they met, she dropped coffee on him. The second time they met, she spilt her cupcakes at the wedding and it got on him or something like that. So they're not friends, okay? So this is a definite dislike to love scenario. It's a he falls first hard. There's a caretaking scene in this book. She gets sick and he takes care of her, and it was so good. And the banter, oh my gosh, the banter was so good. I loved this book. If you're looking for a small town, but like a feisty heroine and the spice, oh my gosh, I love this book so much. So definitely read this one. And the first one if you haven't read it, because I mean, you can read this one without reading the first one, but like just don't, because they're both that good. Then we get into my next book. I hate this. I really do. Okay, so I read Fall Into You by J.T. Geisinger, which was book 2 in the Morley Gray series, and I gave this one 3 stars. Was it 3? Yeah, it was 3. This just wasn't it. This wasn't it for me. This didn't feel like the first book did, which is okay. I know they're not all supposed to feel the same, but it's just like, I don't even know why he's Morley Gray. Like, he does nothing wrong. I don't know why he's Morley Gray, unless he thinks that he's Morley Gray, which is the only reason I could see how that would be. So in this book, we are following Cole and Shay. Is it Shay? I think it's Shay. It's Shay. Shay is out with her girlfriends at the beginning of the book to celebrate one's birthday, and she's getting over a breakup, which has been a while. I do think it's like not just a recent breakup, it had been a while. And her girlfriend's like, you know what? The best way to get over a guy is to get under another one. So they're like, why don't you go talk to that guy over in the corner? Well, the guy in the corner happens to be our hero named Cole. So she walks over, and like the first words out of her mouth is, I don't want to be here. And if someone told me that, I'm like, well, good. I don't want you here either. Like, go away. That's not how it works, okay? So they start talking, and they end up hooking up for the night. And then the next morning, he's gone. She is friends with Emery from the first book, who owned the bookstore. And she's like, she's like in between jobs, and she's like, I need a job, I need something. And Emery's like, I know someone who's looking for an assistant. Well, lo and behold, that someone is Cole, because Cole is the guy from the first book's brother, but I can't think of his name. And so she gives him the information. She ends up getting the job. She goes in the first day, and of course it's Cole. She's like, oh my God, there he is. I didn't think I'd ever see him again. And of course he's like, oh my God, I didn't think I'd ever see her again. And of course company policy says they can't be together. So it's very much a back and forth the whole book. I want to be with you, but we can't. I want to be with you, but we can't. I can't, we can't, we can't, we can't. It's just whiplash. And then by the end of the book, it feels so rushed. Something happens, but I can't tell you what it is, and it's a spoiler. But something happens, and then the end's just like wrapped up real fast, and it's rushed. It was very rushed to me at the end. Can you tell I didn't like it? Because I didn't like it all that much. It was sad. Because, and there's no plot twist. There's no plot twist. Excuse me? Excuse me, JT? I read your books for the wow moment, for the oh my gosh moment, for the plot twist moment. There was none. I'm salty about that. I'm extremely salty about that. And I'm still trying to figure out why it was Morley Gray. Why is he Morley Gray? If you've read it, let me know. Why do you think it was more? I don't know. It just wasn't a hit for me. But one thing that I did like about Fall Into You was we did get two points of view. So we did get hers and his in this one. And in the first one, we only got hers, which I felt like that was lacking. So I am glad that we got the 2 points of view, but it just still wasn't it. Just wasn't it. And we are getting to the end. We are done. We are here. We are here. In My Dreams, I Hold a Knife. I've been putting off this book for a year, if not 2 years, because everyone's like, it's so good. It's my favorite of all time. You all liars. Liars, okay? I ended up giving this book, did I give it a 4-star because I was being nice? What did I give it? I did. I gave it a 4 stars, okay? This book was just okay. So this is a thriller, and in this book, we are following our main character, Hannah? No, not Hannah. Who's the main character of this book? I don't even know, because I don't even care. Who was the main character? Hold, please. Jessica. That's her name. Duh, because it was supposed to be such a mundane name and I was supposed to not remember it. Oh my God, true. Okay, so Jessica gets an invitation to go back to her 10-year college reunion. And she's so excited. She's like, I'm going to show all these people what I became, you know, because I was always mundane Jessica, never seen, blah, blah, blah. Plain Jane Jessica. When she was in college, she was part of like the East House 7, which was a group of friends that the campus knew. And in their senior year, one of their friends is murdered. And they think it was the boyfriend, but they could never really pinpoint it on him. So she goes to homecoming and stuff just starts happening. Like the brother of the friend that was murdered is there, and he's like, I know one of you did it, so we're gonna hash this out. We need to figure out, I want to know who did it. So we get dual timelines of from now all the way back to freshman year, and then like sophomore, junior, all the way up to what happened the night that she was murdered. And it was just okay. It was fine. Like, I don't know, guys. I've been not doing good with thrillers. It was just fine. Like, was there like a plot twist? I don't know. Was there? It was okay. It is what it is. But yeah, those are my books. Hits, misses, more misses, I think, than hits this time, which is sad. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you've read any of these books, please let me know down below what were your thoughts, but keep it spoiler-free for others who have not read it. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're new and would like to join the family. I would love to have you stick around. My social media is linked down below. As always, my Goodreads and my Instagram if you would like to stay more up to date and day-to-day with what I am reading. Leave me the scissors emoji. Are there scissors emoji? I think so. You know, scissors. Leave me that in the comments down below if you don't want to leave me any other kind of comment. But I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys. Good enough. Good enough. Shh. Don't be talking. Stop talking. Are you done making noise? So we do get we get tool dime nines. No. Okay. Because she's also a